Welcome everyone to the Raiders Daily Podcast. My name is Stephen Michaels. It is free agency frenzy. The first day of free agency, as you know, the Raiders were very quiet. Very quiet. Not really a surprise to me, because after all, there is a real general manager now for the Raiders. A guy who's just not a television guy, a real GM, and Dave Ziegler. And let me tell you something, this guy knows what he's doing. And you started to see that, on the second day. As the Raiders got a little bit more aggressive, they went out and got some players they really needed. Now, they're not done. Not by a long shot. So, I think it's very important for all Raider fans to understand this. This free agent market is loaded, right? It was already loaded coming into free agency. The players that we knew would be available. There is already so many names, it's kind of insane. I don't even know how all these guys are going to find jobs. But then you have to consider that the cuts between the 16th and the 19th, a lot of players around the NFL are, those dates, they're guaranteed money. One of the reasons why the Raiders released Carl Nassib, Corey Littleton, all of those dudes, I think even Alec Ingold, I don't think he had guaranteed money though. I don't think Alec Ingold did. But I could be wrong. I don't know everyone's contract. But anyways, the reason why those guys were released, especially a guy like Carl Nassib, was because he was going to get, I think it was like $2 million or something like that on the 19th. So the Raiders had to cut him. That's why they did that. So a lot of teams around the NFL have the same situation. So we are going to see even more players cut. Not to mention these dumbass teams like Jacksonville and all these teams who way overspent on average players. They are going to have to make a lot of cuts because they have to pay all these players they assigned. I mean, they're signing guys left and right, giving them contracts that, I'm sorry. I mean, I know players get all thin-skinned about this, but listen. I mean, the bottom line is this. Yeah, congrats, you got paid, but did you really earn that paycheck? I mean, let's take Zay Jones, for example, okay? Zay Jones. This guy was the fourth receiver on the depth chart for the Raiders. He's not very good. The guy can't get separation. The guy is not very good. He is the fourth wide receiver on any team's depth chart. Maybe third if they suck, like Jacksonville. He might be second in Jacksonville. But listen, he's not that great, okay? We got to see him. The Raiders gave up a 5th round pick for him. They tried their best with this guy. He works really hard in training camp. Not taking anything away from his work ethic, right? Let's put that aside. But what about the production on the field? He's been with the Raiders, I think, for 3 years? I believe 3 years. He, in 3 years, combined, he has yet to go over 1,000 yards. He has never had a 1,000-yard season for the Raiders, yet I believe, I could be wrong about these numbers, but I believe he got paid $40 million. Zay Jones just robbed a bank, and that bank is called Jacksonville. The Jacksonville Jaguars. What do they say? Duval? He robbed Duval. He robbed them blind. It's hilarious to me, but at the same time, I don't want the Raiders getting into that mess. Yes, there are a lot of good players out there right now. I know a lot of Raider fans want the Raiders to go sign Stefan Gilmore, for example, right? Here's the problem. Stefan Gilmore, he wants $14 million a season. The Raiders are not paying Stefan Gilmore, who's no spring chicken, $14 million. They're looking at it like, hey, dude, we know you. I mean, you've been with us in New England from the beginning. We know your worth. You're worth around $8 million, maybe 9, 10, the most, in my opinion. That's what you are worth. But, you know, all of these players and agents, they look around the NFL. They see teams like the Chargers and the Jaguars, you know, a few teams who just overspent in free agency, and now all of these agents and players want that kind of money. They want that kind of money. I mean, Von Miller, the guy's like 100 years old, right? He got paid, I think, $100 million or something crazy like that. I mean, it's insane by Buffalo. It's crazy. Von Miller's a great player, but $100 million? I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the number. You know, I don't have a computer in front of me right now, but I know it's something crazy like that. But, I mean, listen, the bottom line is, what's happening is these players and agents, they're looking at the market, and all of a sudden they're seeing, you know, a guy like Zay Jones, who's not very good, get paid this outrageous amount of money, and then say, oh, no, well, I want that kind of money. So now we have players who are verbally committing to contracts, and then when it's time to sign, they're watching TV or looking at Twitter and seeing, oh, this guy's got paid this much, and I'm about to sign for what I'm worth. Hell no, I'm not signing it. Forget it. Scrap the deal. Randy Gregory just did it. Darius Smith just did it. The Ravens thought they had him. They really did. They thought they had him. Verbally committed to the deal. And then he's seen other players like Von Miller get paid outrageous amount of money. And he says, no, I don't want that deal anymore. I want to go back in the market. Here's the problem. Eventually, it's going to happen sooner than later. Eventually, teams are just going to run out of money. They're not going to be able to afford these players who want these outrageous contracts. They're just not going to have the money to pay them. So what are those players going to do then? You know, guys like a Randy Gregory, you know, a guy or Smith, who, you know, verbally committed to the Ravens and then just said no. What are they going to do if another team does not offer them more money? And, you know, all of a sudden, it's April, and you're still a free agent because you outpriced yourself. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, the top free agents in the NFL, most of them, the top of the top, they're all still available. Allen Robinson, right? I know Raider fans would love him. Wide receiver, very good wide receiver. He's still available. Why? Why is he available right now? Because he wants to be paid the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. He wants outrageous money. I just told you, Stefan Gilmore, he's out there looking for $14 to $15 million per season. There are not a lot of teams that are going to pay those contracts. It's not going to happen. The Raiders are being smart here. They are not going to be stupid and just be in cap hell in 2 years because they overpaid on guys that are not even starters. And that's the weird part. Some of these guys, like I said earlier, are not even like starters and are getting paid starter money. So then when you look at it, you know, actual starters, like an Allen Robinson, you know, all the guys that are available, basically. When you look at them, you say, well, yeah, they're going to want big-time money. But the money might be dried up by the time they accept the deal. I mean, who knows? And that money just may never be coming. The money they want, sometimes you're not going to get. So the Raiders, I think, are banking on that. This free agency is not going to be just a week or 2 week thing. This is going to go on way past the draft. This free agency is so loaded. It is going to go all the way to training camp. And maybe through training camp. I mean, you got to think about the cuts. Like I said, with the guaranteed money stuff. And then after the draft, as you know, teams cut players. There's going to be a big batch of good players available then. So it's going to be crazy. So let's go over what the Raiders have done so far in free agency first before we start talking about other players maybe the Raiders should explore, things like that. You know, we're just playing fantasy GM. We'll do that in a second, but let's take a look at what the real GM did for the Raiders. First of all, let's start with the cuts, right? The Raiders cut Carl Nassib, they cut Nick Kwiatkowski, and they cut, what's his name, Corey Littleton. 3 guys that I knew were going to be cut. I put it out there a month ago, to be honest with you. This is not news, especially in my Facebook group where I do my shows and I break big news and things like that. This is something that I've been telling them for a month. Those guys were all getting cut, okay? One surprise cut. There was one surprise cut, and that is Alec Ingold. The Raiders will be moving on from Alec Ingold. Alec Ingold went to Miami. I believe they're paying him $7 million a season. I think, I think that's pretty fair for Alec Ingold. I think Alec Ingold is a good player. I really do. I have nothing against his play. I think Alec Ingold, I think he could be really good, to be honest with you. I was kind of shocked that they moved on from him. I think most people were. Most people were very shocked. But the reason why they did, here's some inside info for you guys. The reason why they did move on from Alec Ingold is because Josh McDaniels, he's going to want to sign, he did sign his own fullback. And the reason why he signs his own fullback is because it's going to be easier because they already know the scheme. They already know what they want to do. They already know the system. So it's just so much easier than teaching someone like Alec Ingold blocking assignments and things like that when you already know that like a guy like Jacob Johnson, who the Raiders signed, fullback. You already have him. Then you bring in a guy like Brandon Bolden, the Raiders brought in, former Patriot, knows the system. It's very easy for Josh McDaniels to bring in guys that already know the system, especially on offense, and help out the rest of the guys. So anyways, those are the guys that got cut. Let's talk about the guys. Also, the Raiders did indeed trade Yannick Ngakoue, and they got cornerback Rock Ya-Sin. Best name in the NFL, right? Now, a lot of fans were, pretty sad about this, but let me ask you something. And this kind of, this is a little bit weird here. Yannick Ngakoue is now on his 3rd team? Pretty sure, right? I think this is his 3rd team. It seems like he's on a new team almost every year. And when I see that, that tells me something. That tells me there is something up with that player. But don't worry, because even though they traded Yannick Ngakoue, who's a good player, no doubt about it, but it seems like he can't stay on a team more than a year no matter how good he does. Maybe there's something up with the dude. I don't know. But I can tell you this. The Raiders upgraded big time. He may be older, but he's 100 times better. The Raiders go out and get Chandler Jones. This guy is 100 times better than Yannick Ngakoue. This guy can chase down a quarterback. This guy hits the quarterback, makes the quarterback fumble. This guy had 5 sacks in one game. This guy is a game wrecker. Crosby with Chandler Jones on the other side. Maybe even put Chandler Jones right next to Max Crosby. Make that guard and center really freak out. You got to get another defensive end over there. But then you're talking. Chandler Jones is the best pickup the Raiders have made in years. I know he's old, but this guy, I mean, you're pretty much set for about 10.5 sacks every single season. This guy gets on the field. This guy is amazing. What a pickup for the Raiders. This is a game changer right here. Yannick Ngakoue, like I said, good player, no doubt about it. Bigger guy, but he's not going to be chasing down a quarterback. He's not as versatile as Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones fits Patrick Graham's system so well. This guy, I'm telling you guys, this is a big upgrade. A big upgrade for your silver and black. So that was a big one. And like I said, Rock Ya-Sin, he's a pretty good cornerback. He's a man-to-man guy. He's going to fit the system very well. They also brought in Darius Phillips, another guy fits the system. And they brought in some depth guys. They brought in wide receiver Mac Hollins. They brought in Anthony Everett, a cornerback. So they're bringing in guys slowly, but they're bringing in the right guys. They're bringing in guys to build up the depth, and they're also bringing in stars like Chandler Jones. And the Raiders are not done. I can't stress this enough. The Raiders are not done doing what they're doing. I mean, there are, like I said, big free agents out there, right? The Raiders are in on some of these guys. So I would not be shocked at all. And if they end up getting some big name player, eventually, it might not happen right now, but they eventually are going to get some big name players. They are going to get a big name wide receiver. There's no doubt about it. And I can tell you right now, as I record this show, it is March 17th. It is 10:20 a.m. I know for a fact. Now, I am not telling you that this is going to happen, but I can tell you for a fact the Raiders, they've spoken to Allen Robinson. Now, I highly doubt Allen Robinson is going to, the Raiders are going to pay Allen Robinson the money he wants. I highly doubt he goes there. I could see him going somewhere else. I know he wants to go to a team that's going to be competing for a Super Bowl, so Tampa Bay or the Rams, some team like that. I'll bet anything those are one of the teams he goes to. But, listen, he's a guy that wanted a lot of money. Let's see if he gets it. You know what I mean? Let's see if he gets his $67 or $70 million, or he gets more like, 45, 50 to 45, 45, 50 million. Let's see. I guarantee he does not get no $65, $70 million though. He's not going to do it. It's not going to happen. So, and that's a good thing, by the way, because that means the prices will start going down. And there are plenty, like I said, the Raiders are going to, in free agency, they are going to pick up a wide receiver. Now, I know a lot of Raider fans want to know about Devante Adams because he claims he will not play under the franchise tag. We don't know what's going to happen there. You got to understand, the Packers would need to trade him, and what would they want in return? The Raiders are not going to give a first-round pick for him. If I'm the Raiders, do I offer a second-round pick for Devante Adams? I don't know. If you can get a deal done that keeps him there longer than a year, then yeah. But either way, there are a lot of good wide receivers in this free agency class, and there's going to be even more. Like I said before, there's going to be more players added to this list. More players, but I mean, you still got Odell Beckham Jr. out there, okay, who has not signed. As of right now, Allen Robinson has not signed, but I do know that I think he'll be signed today, to be honest with you, but I don't want to promise that. But I've heard that, there's a lot of activity around him. Will Fuller has not been signed yet. Jameson Crowder, a guy I think the Raiders, I think he would fit perfectly with the Raiders. Market, what's his name? Scantling there from Green Bay. A guy, listen, I know the knock on him is he drops passes, I guess, or something like that. But all I know is he has blazing speed, and that's what the Raiders need. They need a guy that is really, really fast. I know they did sign, what's his name? Mac Hollins. He's a wide receiver guy for Miami. He also mostly plays special teams. I don't know, how good of a wide receiver he'll be. I mean, he's fast, but I think the Raiders are going to go out and get someone, with a bigger name, someone that has, a little bit more experience at the wide receiver position. Scantling, to me, the reason why I like him is because he is so fast. Now, you can draft a fast guy, and, maybe he's better than Scantling. So that could be what the GM is thinking about for the Raiders. But I'll tell you this. The reason why you want a guy like that, because the Raiders had that with Henry Ruggs. Unfortunately, he decided to go kill someone. But when you have someone that's really fast on the outside, that with breakaway speed, you got the go route open if he gets open. But even if he does not, he's taking the top off. And what does that mean? That means it's time to eat for Hunter Renfrow, who, by the way, is in talks with the Raiders to get an extension. You got Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller underneath. So that is why you want a guy that has very top-end speed that could take the top off. Lined up at the end over there. But we'll see. We'll see what the Raiders end up doing. Like I said, they can draft that, though. They can draft a wide receiver with speed in the first round or even a second round. This draft class is a lot of fast wide receivers, a lot of good wide receivers. So they could always go that route, but there are so many free agents. I mean, why not? I like Keelan Cole. I really like him. I like wide receivers. A lot of people, this is just how when free agency comes, what I like to do, okay? I'll give you some inside Steven's brain here, how I go about this, is I look for guys who played on shitty teams that are not the teams weren't very good. Maybe you don't have the best quarterback. And what I do is I isolate that player, that wide receiver. This is what I do with wide receivers. Okay, and let's say this wide receiver has like 300 to 400 yards. I usually like to go to the 400-yard mark, okay? Receiving yards. Now, you think about that. He has 400 yards and he plays, let's say, for the Jets. They don't have that great of a quarterback, not that great of a passing game, but the guy has 400 yards. Now, put him in the Raiders system where they have Derek Carr, who's an average quarterback, or I would say average to good quarterback, a guy who definitely knows how to throw the football, a guy who definitely has experience, and a guy who can definitely get you the ball. I guarantee you, that guy who had 400 yards, 450 yards with the New York Jets will have close to 900 with the Raiders. That's how it works. Look at Nelson Aguilar. And when he first came to the Raiders, that guy had his best season in Vegas. His best season. He went to the Patriots last year. He wasn't the same. He was great with the Raiders. The guy should have signed and stayed with the Raiders, to be honest, because he was on fire there. But that's what the Raiders, especially Derek Carr. Derek Carr is good with veteran wide receivers, guys that already know routes, guys that know NFL defenses, things like that. He's always been good. To Crabtree, to Jared Cook, even though he's a tight end. Every time they bring in a vet wide receiver, usually has success. Usually. And like I said, these wide receivers who play for bad teams, I'm telling you, if they come to the Raiders, they're not going to be getting 400 yards. This is not the New York Jets. This is the Las Vegas Raiders with a lot better quarterback. They're going to get close to 800, 900, who knows, maybe even 1,000. So that's why guys like Jameson Crowder and Keelan Cole I look at. But there's also, like I said, so many guys. Sammy Watkins is still available. A.J. Green's out there. There's so many players. I think Adam Humphries is still out there. There's so many of them. There's so many wide receivers. I could go through a list, but I'd be reading it all day long. But also, the Raiders are going to need a linebacker eventually, since, they pretty much have none right now, right? They don't have a linebacker. They have one. They have Denzel Perryman. After that, they don't really have anyone. So, what do the Raiders do? If I'm the Raiders, the way they're thinking, I think Kyle Van Noy could be a guy that the Raiders look at, bringing in. He knows exactly what Patrick Graham likes. Dante Hightower is another guy. I say you keep Denzel Perryman. You know what I mean? You keep him right where he's at. But you got to get guys that can actually, like Van Noy would be good because he can cover. And that's what the Raiders are going to need. They're going to need some linebackers that can, obviously, because how Patrick Graham's system is, they rush the quarterback sometimes, but they can also drop back in coverage. So that's why I would look out for Kyle Van Noy, a guy like that, or a Dante Hightower, a former Patriot guy or Giants guy. We know Bradbury. What's going to happen with him? James Bradbury. Do the Giants try trading him? If I'm does Patrick Graham really like him enough where the Raiders could get him for a third-round pick? If so, go ahead and do it. Get that defense better. You got to build that defense, because that defense last year, yes, they had an okay defensive line. Sometimes they couldn't stop the run, but they had a pretty good defensive line. Sometimes they were really good at getting in the quarterback. Sometimes the quarterback had way too much time. Max Crosby, by the way, shout out to Max Crosby. He got his bag. He got paid. Max is living the good life over there. So, Max Crosby, very athletic, can run sideline to sideline, can chase quarterbacks. That's what the Raiders need. You can't just have these big old guys up front who, maybe they can get past their, the tackle, but they're not chasing Patrick Mahomes down. They're not even chasing Justin Herbert down. Where Chandler Jones, he can do that. Max Crosby can do that. So you got to get linebackers and edge rushers that can do that. That can get after the quarterback. And also, you need, because last year the Raiders, too many problems. I know Gus Bradley's system is very soft, but the Raiders hardly blitz, and Gus Bradley doesn't do that. That's going to change this season under Patrick Graham. The Raiders must blitz. They must blitz to have success. Instead of just sitting back and letting a team pick you apart all the way down the field until they get into the red zone. And of course, we know their red zone defense sucks. The other team, what happens? They score a touchdown. I was sick and tired of watching that all last season. Teams just marching down the field on the Raiders. And then, of course, you got to hope the Raiders get the ball at the end, because then we all know Derek Carr is really good at comebacks. If they get the ball at the end, there's a chance they can win. But why even put ourselves there? Why let these teams just go up the field on us? Why let it happen? When you can get after that quarterback's ass and bring that quarterback down, force some turnovers, something the Raiders defense were not very good at doing last season. This is what they got to build upon. They need to get better players. They need to get depth everywhere. They need a lot of that. They need defensive line, linebackers. Remember, I see a lot of people throwing names out there that are free safeties. They like Trayvon Moehrig. He's probably going to be the starter. Abram, well, he's got some problems. I don't think anyone's confident with Abram. The guy has not lived up to the hype at all so far. So, personally, I wouldn't do it right now. But later on, I would get a safety. I would get a safety and make him compete for a job. And if he can't beat out, I would get some old guy, who still has some juice left in him. And if he can't beat out, a veteran, then so be it. But the good news is Josh McDaniels is not handcuffed to any of the previous guys, to Jonathan Abram, to Derek Carr. He's not handcuffed to any of these guys. It's his team now, his vision now. And I'm always honest with you guys. I gotta wait and see because I don't trust Josh McDaniels. I don't know if this guy is good enough to be a head coach. He sucked in Denver. I mean, he could be. I don't trust any of those Patriot coaches. They've all shown that they're overrated. Every time they leave the Patriots organization, they go on somewhere else, they fail. So, I'm sorry. Josh McDaniels is going to have to prove it to me. Dave Ziegler is going to have to prove it to me. So far, he's been doing a great job, in my opinion. I think he's got to start being more aggressive, but I understand with the whole money situation right now that he can't really be that aggressive because it's impossible because you don't have the money to actually pay these guys what they're demanding. That's why you kind of got to sit back and wait. You have to, right? I mean, you can try to convince some players to go down in their prices, but for the most part, like I said, quality players are going to be available in a week, and they're going to be much cheaper. And that's what the Raiders' strong play should be. And I believe that's what they are doing. They're still going to be in the mix. I mean, I know for a fact, I can tell you right now, that they have been talking to Stefan Gilmore. But like I told you, he wants like $15 million a season. He's got to get down to around $10 million. $9 to $10 million. Once he gets down to that price, if he gets down, unless some team ends up overpaying him, then the Raiders will probably sign him, to be honest. They will probably sign him if he goes down to that price. But that's what they need. They need defensive backs and they need linebackers. They need to figure out how to get after the quarterback, which they should be able to do now. And they also need to force turnovers. Then on offense, the Raiders, looks like they're gonna keep Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs. They added Brandon Bolden, a guy who played for the Patriots, third down running back. Jalen Richard, goodbye. Should have got vaccinated. That's the reason why you didn't get paid later. So, I don't know if he ended up getting vaccinated. I know he was against it at first. I'm just making a joke. Some people don't understand when I'm making a joke. But anyways, he's still gone. He's still not coming back. Either way, Brandon Bolden, boom, stole his job. So, Jalen Richard's a good player, in my opinion, though. Pretty, he's okay. He's a decent player. Can make some big plays on occasion. Is he going to do it every game? No. Once a year, though, maybe twice a year, he's going to have a couple of big plays here and there. No doubt about it. But anyways, who cares? Who cares about Jalen Richard? Once they leave that Raiders uniform, I no longer care about them. That's how my mind works. This is a business to me. Football is not something, how you guys can just enjoy it on a Sunday. It's not enjoyable for me. It is a business. It is a business. My phone's blowing up right now. So anyways, Brandon Bolden going to be a third down back. He's going to help out Derek Carr. If Derek Carr is the quarterback, that's another weird thing going on. Eventually, they're going to have to extend Derek Carr. Even the people who, for some reason, can't stand Derek Carr, I get it. I know Derek Carr's brothers can be weird, and the whole thing is just weird. I really don't care about what Derek Carr. I just want Derek Carr to win, so I don't really care either way. But let me explain this to the people who don't like Derek Carr at all. Why the Raiders should give him an extension? Because if the Raiders can get him an extension, because he's likely going to be the quarterback, barring something crazy happening at the draft or, something happening during free agency, which so far I have not even heard of, but barring something crazy like that, he's going to be the quarterback for this season. But if they do not give him an extension, he will be able to leave walk out the door and sign with another team after next season. And the Raiders get nothing for it. I mean, yes, let's be honest here. Josh McDaniels is eventually going to draft his own quarterback. That I don't. We all know this draft class this season not very good. So maybe the Raiders don't do it this draft coming up. But the next draft, chances are, he drafts his own quarterback, and eventually that guy is the starter for the Raiders. So you need to extend Carr, because teams will give... I mean, look what teams are doing right now. For, like I said, Zay Jones got paid $40 million. I mean, the Broncos, look what they get for Russell Wilson. And, you know, I know everyone's kissing the Broncos' ass right now, Russell Wilson, but I think Derek Carr is just as good or maybe better than Russell Wilson. I don't think Russell Wilson is highly overrated. Highly overrated. I mean, look at them last year. How good were the Seahawks last year? They sucked. You know, I mean, come on. I mean, I complain about Derek Carr on third downs. Go check out Russell Wilson on third downs. He's terrible, okay? So, the reason why you extend Carr is this. That way, you think of it as a future investment, okay? So, when they draft their quarterback, not this draft, the next draft, they draft their quarterback, and they want to move on from Derek Carr, they can trade Derek Carr to a team that would, you know, some QB needy team that will do anything for just a quarterback that knows how to play football in the NFL. And we know Derek Carr knows how to do that at least. I wish he was consistent. Maybe under McDaniels he will be. Maybe he will start looking a lot better. But, you know, we're going in like 10 years now. So, either way, you extend him and you think of it as a future investment. Because in 2 years, if they want to trade Derek Carr, some team will give them 2 first-round picks, maybe 3, who knows? But they'll at least get 2 first-round picks for Derek Carr, and then Josh McDaniels can start his boy and have him, you know, be the quarterback. This is a lot. I can see this being like an Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes situation. Alex Smith, he was a bridge quarterback until Mahomes was ready, and then boom, Mahomes comes in. And remember, Alex Smith was playing very good at that time. Derek Carr, he's playing well, right? He's doing well. But even though Alex Smith was playing very well, the future was Mahomes. And that's exactly what's going to happen in Vegas. McDaniels is going to get his own guy, and that will be the future. Derek Carr is the bridge. And I think Derek Carr might even know he is the bridge and does not like that he is the bridge, and that's why there is no extension at this time. Because the Raiders offered an extension last year, he did not sign it. There is one on, I believe there's one on the table right now. He has yet to sign it, and if he does not sign nothing, they do not come to terms, then Derek Carr is going to leave for absolutely nothing in return for the Raiders next year. And the Raiders don't want to be put in that situation. So hopefully they can get an extension done with Derek Carr. I know they want to get one done with Hunter Renfrow. They got one done with Max Crosby. So we will see what happens with that whole thing. But I think keeping Derek Carr with the Raiders right now is the smart thing to do. He's a veteran quarterback. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, this is like his, his like 100th system change. But Josh McDaniels' system isn't going to be that much different than Gruden's. The verbiage will be different, though. Derek Carr is basically going to need to get the ball out of his hands fast. And I know Josh McDaniels is going to ask, unlike Gruden, which I thought Gruden would do, but he did not, he's going to ask Derek Carr to start extending plays with his legs. And there's no reason why Derek Carr can't do that. This guy is athletic. I've seen him run for first downs, very fast. Yet for some reason in the red zone, he doesn't run it right in for a touchdown, even though there's a big open gap where he can easily beat the linebacker because the guy has pretty good speed. But he doesn't use it to his advantage. But either way, let's hope they can get him extended. That way, it's good for the future of the Raiders. I don't care if you're one of those crazy Derek Carr fans. You don't like the Raiders, but you like Derek Carr thing. That's all weird to me, by the way. This is what's good for the Raiders' future. Okay? Derek Carr is not going to be the quarterback for the next 100 years, or the next even 20 years, or the next 10 years. He's not going to be the quarterback. So, what do you do in that case? You got to look for the future, right? But the future is the future. You got to focus on the now. And then now, Derek Carr is the quarterback, and he will work in this system. And let's hope he can be consistent. Because if Derek Carr can be consistent and the Raiders add the right players on offense, they need this. They need to get a number one wide receiver. They need at least 2 wide receivers. They could draft one and get one in free agency if they want. But they need to surround him with good weapons, fix that offensive line. That defense is going to be good. I'm telling you, they are building a pretty good defense there. I know all the talk is about Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa with the Chargers. But listen, I mean, Khalil Mack, by the way, the Raiders won that trade. Look at the Bears. They had to dump them off already, right? They traded all of that, all those picks they could have had, the Bears. Instead, they get nothing. They get nothing. They don't even have their quarterback they had. They are just in shambles. And the Raiders, yeah, I mean, some of the players didn't pan out, right? But they still got Max Crosby. They still got Hunter Renfrow. And guess what? They're not eating all of this Khalil Mack money like the Bears are. So the Bears trade Khalil Mack to the Chargers. Now the Raiders got to play Khalil Mack twice a year. Raiders got to make sure they got a really good right tackle in place. Keep him at bay. I don't think it'll be that big of a deal, to be honest with you. I think it'll just be something the Raiders get used to doing. Remember, Khalil Mack is the enemy. Remember, Khalil Mack hates every single one of your... Every fan, every Raider fan that's listening right now. Khalil Mack hates your guts and wishes nothing but the worst for you. That is true. He hates you. So if you have his jersey, then, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You're a pussy. You should throw it away because the guy can't stand you. He hates the Raiders. He hates Raider Nation. And now he plays for the Chargers. He went to the Chargers for one reason and one reason only. Because he hates you and the Raiders organization so much. He wants to punish us. He wants to punish the Raiders. Let me tell you something. The Raiders won 10 games last year, okay? With Gus Bradley's defense that hardly blitzes. This is not a bad team. This team is going up. And if Josh McDaniels, like I said, he has to earn my trust. But if this guy can build off of that, the Raiders should have no problem competing in the AFC West. No problem at all. Like I said, Derek Carr, I think he's just as good as Russell Wilson. Hunter Renfrow, best route runner, not only in the AFC West, in the NFL. You got Kenyon Drake, Josh Jacobs, Brandon Bolden. And then you look at the defense, you got Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. They're getting ready, and the Raiders are not even close to being done. Then you got the draft. This team is going to be competitive next season. Mark my words. As long as Josh McDaniels can do his job, you know that famous saying there in New England, here, do your job. Good. Well, listen, do your job with your video cameras. But listen, as long as they can actually do their job in Las Vegas, the Raiders will be a playoff team. The Raiders are here to stay. The Raiders can make a big splash this season coming up. But they got to add to the players. They got to add to the offensive line. Got to get linebackers. Got to get wide receivers. So far, free agency's been going well. Hopefully the market goes down and the Raiders can keep adding and building. But like I said, Derek Carr will be the quarterback for now. And that's the only thing we should kind of worry about. We don't have to worry about the future. That's why I say extend him. Because I know he can win. I've seen him do it enough. All we need is McDaniels to put a system in place where he can consistently win. And now the Raiders have a defense that can blitz the quarterback and get turnovers. This team will be more dangerous if they can execute. If they execute, than they were last season. And last season they won 10 games. I'm giving them 12 games this season to win if they can execute. It's all about execution. But if they do, 12 games, book it. All right, everyone, that is it. I will see you next week for the free agency show part 2. And then eventually, guys, we're going to do some shows on video. We'll put them on YouTube. You'll be able to see me with my crazy sunglasses. Back to video. We will do it. And we'll have people donate. I'll put a link in the description where you can donate to the show. And things like that. Underneath, well, this show will be on YouTube as well as Spotify, Stitcher, all those apps. If you want to donate, if you're watching this on YouTube, the link is in the description. I will see you guys next week. My name is Stephen Michaels. This is the Raiders Daily Podcast.